say, I'm not going to sell it to the US guys, but I'm giving you 3 to 6 months advantage in the marketplace if you use my chip right now. But you're going to use it quick. I'm not going to give you 6 months to make up your decision. If you make up your mind to go with me and trust me, I'll see that I'll help you become successful. So that was the sales message I would give to the managing director at Tatong and Samsung and Kia and Hyundai PC and all these people. That was the message I would give them, that look, you work with me and I'm bringing the latest technology and all that stuff. Obviously, I leveraged the fact that I worked at Intel, I knew everything, so I could tell them things that would help them understand that I knew what I was talking about. And but if I told them that if I had not made them a commitment that I'm not going to sell to the US companies, then they would say, let me wait for the other guys and check their products. And that takes 3 months, 6 months. My time to market advantage is gone, right? So basically, the message, the sales message I gave them is I'll give you a time to market advantage. And in a sense, if you think of why Indian global outsourcing companies became successful, is because they gave a cost advantage to CIOs who are willing to commit to them. Everybody knows the prices that IBM Global Services and Accenture and everybody else is selling. But when TCS, Infosys and others went into the market, they said, yeah, you're paying $220 to them. My engineers are even better than theirs. You should pay me $220 an hour. But Infosys said, I'm going to only charge you $65. And they provided such a big gap between what Accenture and IBM was charging that enough number of people had no choice but to take it. And the people who took advantage of them became even more successful CIOs. Right? So you could think of this time to market is really probably the most important advantage that typically a startup has. He typically does not have advantage in other things, but time to market is an advantage that he has. And the more you can make time to market the important factor, selling factor, or decision factor for the customer, you could make that be more important rather than your strategic vision and partnership and all those things, because you don't have those things. So I would actually go and run educational seminars in the Far East and give them a complete understanding of how the PC market is evolving, where the opportunities are, how to develop your business, etc. So I would actually educate my future customers and treat them like a partner. So that they sell more PC, they will buy more chipsets. Right? So, and then how did I break into Taiwan? I'm nobody, right? Nobody knows me in Taiwan. Everything is in Chinese and so on. So what I did was I found and built up relationships with 3 different large PC manufacturers there. And I did specific deals with them. I said, I'll get you a 10% better price or whatever, but you give me a good reference. And one or two out of the 3 did not even realize the impact of what was going to happen. Because what I did was I generated a press release, and the title was, these 3 big companies have decided to use Opti for the next generation PC or whatever. And obviously I got their approval. They did not understand English very well, but they realized the kind of fantastic reference they were giving me. And then I just put out a press release, gave interviews with TV stations and newspapers and so on, and then just flooded through faxes at that time. At that time there were fax machines. So faxes to 100 PC manufacturers that these 3 big companies have standardized on Opti for the next generation machine. And, believe it or not, in almost one day we became an overnight success in all of Taiwan. Because everybody started talking, who's this Opti? We've never heard of them, we can't. And, so all of a sudden, like, we launched it by leveraging other people's reputation, not our reputation. We didn't have a reputation. So you leverage the reputation of your potential client. Potential client. So then the question is, how do we make computers based on our chipsets something that resellers in the Western markets and PC manufacturers in Western markets are willing to buy? Because if you go anywhere, there's 100 different motherboards, right? So why Opti motherboards? So what we did was, when you're running, when you're racing against time, it's very hard for all these Far East manufacturers to design boards and make it work and so on, especially if it's a cutting edge board and so on. So what we did is, we just manufactured on our own in Silicon Valley, where there is much better technology, etc. But small quantities, but we manufactured about 50 or 100 motherboards, but did not put our name on it, nothing. We didn't do a vanilla board. And then we put a place where they can put a sticker, And then the biggest conference was Comdex at that time, which was the biggest conference where everybody goes for PC. So in the US it's Comdex, and for the global market it's CeBIT in Germany, right? Those two big conferences where about 700,000 or even 1 million people go to CeBIT. So we just flooded the market. So at 100 different booths, we had our vanilla board with a sticker, Tatum board, Micom board, TMC board. So basically the resellers, they found that, there's this company called Opti who's everywhere. So obviously they must be good and reliable. It must be a big company that can support, so many manufacturers at one shot, right? So in a sense, in less than 6 months after launching a company with less than $1 million in the pocket, we just became well-branded in the Far East and well-branded in the market, which is US and Europe. But everybody saw products. Right? Yeah.
So, why you knew that Comdex and such events, these are like
big shows, yeah.
Perfect places for you to showcase and have your presence. At the same time, you had these limited funds available. And while you have a strong conviction that I know that these are the various events around the year at these locations across the globe.
Yeah.
And if I want to really net, I need to be present over there in a good way.
Yeah.
Yeah. So how do you manage that? How did you possibly bridge that gap?
Yeah, so Dino is a very unique case, not a unique case, actually it's quite common, where you're entering a known market against with existing demand and with a better product, right? And you just basically have to execute a sales, marketing, and engineering strategy and product strategy, and we'll talk about that in 2 minutes, which will end up helping you, become a successful company, right? So here, everybody knew it. Intel knew it, Chips knew it, Western Digital, VLSI, everybody knows the market. Because it's an existing, at that time it would probably be a $500 million market. So it was an existing market. And you're walking into an existing market with a better widget. So when you do that, this is the strategy used. Now with Selectica, you'll see we were creating a new market, never existed. And when you do that, you have to use different strategy. We'll talk about that in a minute.
Excuse me, Raj.
Yeah.
So, if you're looking at, a step back from the sales tactics to the entry strategy. Yeah? So let's say if you're sitting in India, probably for that matter any country, and you started up. Now, which countries to go after, to target first? Yeah? Besides, of course, the routine stuff, which is your maybe the volumes and of course the target customer base, etc. What would be some of your thoughts in terms of what are the other key parameters that one should look at?
Yeah.
Uh,
So
let's say
we'll cover
particularly
pretty much
services.
all of these things in the next hour,
Okay. All right.
because, global has got lots of choices, in terms of so many parameters, right? I mean, there is the economies, the import-export rules, the finance, the buying, the selling, it's got lots of variation, lots of parameters to play with. So, depending on what you're selling and doing, you'll have to figure out which markets you're going to go after, right? And how you're going to go after them. And I'm trying to give you guys a kind of a case study of how I did it with, one specific set of products, since I was in it. And here, like, I leverage time to market, new market, and yet, manage to break into the main market within about a year or so. Again, with the Taiwan, and my customers were Taiwanese, Japanese, Korean, Hong Kong, and Singapore. Those were my 5-6 countries where I was selling this product initially. My first round of selling, where you can't communicate. These guys speak different languages, Chinese, Korean. Where am I going to hire a Korean person and a Chinese person and translate all my documentation, etc.? So I said that, what I'm going to do is forget the technical manuals. I'm going to give them the best demos possible. Everybody can understand how fast a PC works, how quickly it boots up, how quickly it works. Everybody can understand that. So I changed where all my competition for the last 10 years have been writing 100-page manuals, that became 200-page manuals, that became 400-page manuals with the Pentium 8-bit, 32-bit, manuals grew exponentially too. And it would take forever for the engineers there in all these countries to read those manuals. First they got to do mental translation from English to Korean, and then they've got to figure out what the darn thing. But so I said, forget those manuals, we go straight to demo, right? And so I just made that. And then I realized that for the Far East market, besides time to market, the other driving parameter is delivery. So I said, as soon as our chip was ready, even when the customers were there or not, I ordered tons of product. So these guys were, my competition would always be, corporate, product managers from Harvard and Stanford and all these places, and they would like to get, a forecast from the customer, and then they will go ahead and make their own forecast, and the manufacturing will order it, and that's a good 3-month process. So basically, my customers in the Far East would say, okay, when can you deliver? And they're expecting me to say, okay, you give me the order, and 3 months later, I'll deliver you the product. And I say, today evening, whenever you want it. You tell me when you want it, you got it. But I said, you're going to pay in cash. So, because my biggest issue was cash. My biggest issue as a startup is, and it's true for almost all startups, is money. Cash flow is king, right? So, and you'll see how I use the cash thing, because the money, also, some countries are amazingly supportive of an export-oriented business, and other countries like India are very stupid in supporting export-oriented manufacturing. And I'll explain that, because it's a very subtle difference, but it's very, very key if you're going to succeed in your business. So,
I have a question.
yeah.
Would it be suicidal in terms of putting all the money that you have, the limited amount, having ready stock,
and if you're not able to make a sale for next 3 months, you're pretty much stuck eating chips of a different kind.
Yeah, excellent point. So I think the issue is, do you want to die of having too many chips, or do you want to die of not having any business? So you're going to die either way. But at least this thing gives me some chance of succeeding. So as an entrepreneur, unfortunately, you have to bet your company almost every day. You don't have the choice as an entrepreneur of safety, right? You're going to do your trapeze act without a net, unfortunately. That's how, and if an entrepreneur wants safety, he's basically going to get killed by the bigger companies, right? Who are already in the market, who got more resources, more reputation, more branding, more marketing, more everything. So you are very much an execution play. An entrepreneur is an execution play. So obviously you need engineers who work very good. You need manufacturers who do a good job of manufacturing the product. So you have to be, that's a very, very good question. Because you're sitting in a corporate environment, you lose your job if you ordered 100,000 chips and you had 0 orders on the books. You lose your job instantaneously, right? So then I would keep product in stock, so instant delivery. Then I said, look, all these guys, if I tell them to design the product and all that, they're going to make mistakes, and they're going to have errors in their design, etc. And I cannot explain in Korean and Chinese and Japanese cannot even understand the problem, long distance, etc. Even the syntaxes. So I said, forget that whole technical support stuff. I've hired the best board designers in Silicon Valley. Where you can get the best people. Because they all work at HP and others, but they all do moonlighting. So they hired them. So I designed the best motherboard, etc. And instead of giving them technical manuals, I would walk in and say, here's your manufacturing package. Here's the film to make your PCB, which you can send tomorrow. Here are the sample boards, here's the BIOS, here is the marketing document that you need. Just change your name in with the word processor. Put your name in as the company providing the product. Here's your collateral. Here's your brochures. Everything. So I provided them a UL certification. Everything. So basically, I essentially put them in business in a week or less with no risk. And my competition was making them work for 3-6 months and going through a lot of pain on top of that, right? Of supporting them, etc. So I did that, and then I think the most fundamental thing, which is this one, this whole thing about Taiwan as a government wants to support manufacturing that provides a little bit of value add for the customers, but serves the global market. Now, the problem with that is that if you look at smartphone, right? The bill of materials on a smartphone, which comes from about 20 different companies, the screen, the CPU, everything, the memory chip, etc. The bill of materials for a smartphone will be about, say, $100. You make it, you assemble it, you test it, package it, put it, everything. It goes out for $120. $20 is the value add. So, if you're making 1 million smartphones a month, you're going to import from all over the world $100 million worth of materials. You're going to put in like $10 million worth of operations costs, etc., and ship it out for $120 and make $10 million profit. each month. But in order to manufacture 1 million smartphones, you import $100 million worth of stuff, right? In India, to import $100 million of stuff, you need to have at least $100 million of hard collateral before the bank will let you open a letter of credit. How many companies have got $100 million of cash, hard collateral sitting around? Where you're going to only make $10 million of profit on that $100 million collateral. Can you? Impossible. Doesn't work. And Taiwan also knew that, I don't have, if I want to have every street corner be a smartphone manufacturer making 1 million smartphones a month, I don't have people with $100 million sitting in the back pocket. So, but Taiwan said, I want to be the world's leader in making smartphones. And not only smartphones, laptops, iPads, PCs, servers, everything. But I'm just giving the smartphone example. So they know that I don't have 100 entrepreneurs with $100 million in their pockets. Right? So what Taiwan government said is that we will, for importing bill of materials, you don't need $100 million. You don't need any money. We will let you open an LC for $100 million without having a single dollar in your pocket. Right? And so, because of that, what happens is that entrepreneurs in Taiwan, manufacturers in Taiwan, can really now be in the value-added business of assembling smartphones. So they don't need $100 million to get into that business of just assembling. To have a factory with 1,000 workers is their value add. And without having $100 million, they can have that factory with 1,000 workers, right? So Taiwan, and so now the benefit, think of what happens now, the benefit. Now the benefit for people supplying into Taiwan is that they get a government-backed letter of credit the minute they ship the product, right? And then you can take that letter of credit to the Taiwan State Bank subsidiary in San Jose, California, as soon as you get the letter of credit, and they give you 85% against that LC even before you ship the product. Guess what happened? He's the best customer to have because you are getting money, 85% of the money, even before you ship the product. And the day this product actually reaches there and you get a fax from them confirming that the delivery is done, you get the remaining 15%. 2 weeks later, you get 50%. So now, compare that with me shipping a product to Olivetti, who also wanted to buy my chips in Italy. I ship it to Olivetti, they say, oh, we're a big company, we got purchasing department, and they're going to get signature and authorization from all these people, my accounts receivable, accounts payable department, all speak Italian, we all take summer vacation, we take, we rarely work, so, the fastest we can pay you is 60 days. Okay, I said, okay, 60 days. So 60 days I've not received the money for the chips that I've shipped, right? Then 60 days later you call them up and they're all on summer vacation or somebody's mother-in-law has passed away or something. And another 30 days goes. My average accounts receivable for Olivetti was 120 days. Compared with Taiwan, who do I want to supply to? Do I want to supply to a monster and big company, the biggest PC manufacturer in Europe? Or do I want to supply to a Taiwanese guy? Obviously a Taiwanese guy. Here I get cash up front. Even before I ship them the product, I'm getting 85% of my cash. Takes care of all my funding issues, right? So basically, every country is not like this, by the way. You know, if I ship to India, I have 2-3 customers in India also. And they said impossible to open an LC here. You guys agree? Impossible. The banks are so damn bureaucratic. You got to mortgage your home, collateralize your home before, you know, they'll give you 1 lakh LC. You know. And then to cash it, for me sitting in the US, another painful problem. You know, RBI permit is needed to cash my thing there. I mean, it was just impossible. So, go ahead. Some questions, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, so, I mean, wouldn't your Chinese customer actually drive a hard bargain, saying that see, you're getting the 85% of it upfront as a cash, so why don't you do a cost reduction? I mean, so what I'm trying to say in a global market, everybody knows the other person's PNL, so wouldn't you try to strip out the advantage of getting the money upfront, wouldn't it be stripped out by customers, right?
Absolutely. You think Taiwan works on a, they are not generous by any means. They are the hardest bargainers there are. But on the other hand, I can tell you that the very second year, where most of my shipment was going to Taiwan, I made $25 million in revenue with $18 million in profit. The next year I made $65 million in revenue with $35 million in profit. Then the next year we had $100 million with $30 million in profit. So you can actually, you have to do other things besides just getting into a price war if you're going to make money selling into Taiwan. So if you get into the commodity part of the market in Taiwan, now you can see what I have done. I've given them a manufacturing package they cannot get from anybody else. They want to start shipping PCs with the latest performance. I'm the only, my motherboard is the only one that works. I mean, they have to buy my chip. There's no second source for my chip. They have to pay my price. And obviously, I don't want to charge them so much because the cost of my chips is almost 40% of the total cost of the board. So I don't want to charge them so much that they lose money. So my biggest challenge was actually how to keep my small Taiwanese companies alive with the big companies. So I had to keep fairly flat pricing between small orders and big orders. And that made a lot of big companies upset, right? But you know, those were the kind of challenges. So there are challenges 100%. But you know, it's a good problem to solve.
How
Yeah.
expensive or how cheap was your chipset compared to other chipsets of the same power and all that?
Yeah. See, I was
Which was
using,
more expensive?
I had outsourced the manufacturing to TSMC and to Samsung. So everybody knows the cost of wafer, everybody knows the cost of chip, everybody knows that. No difference. But because I'd done all the other stuff, I was 6 months ahead of the market. And if you notice, for any chip, there's a fast drop. In 1 year, the cost of any semiconductor product drops by more than 50%. So if you're first to market, you capture a huge amount of profit. And that's why, like, you know, as I said, my first year, you know, I made $25 million with $18 million revenues. Think of the gross margin. Gross margin is about 75%. Obviously, if you're competition, you cannot get 75% gross margin. So it's not that the cost was lower, but the ASP I was getting was higher. Because I was first to market, yeah.
My name is Malik Srinivas, and I'm from a finance background.
Lovely.
I'm from a finance background.
Sure.
I worked for various organizations for 20 years and just recently started with a virtual skill.
Can you come closer?
I work for various organizations as CFO and recently I
Yes.
started my own as a virtual CFO.
Yes.
The point that I'm trying to make is what you told that it is not possible in India to get those kind of LCs.
Yeah.
I have myself got those kind of LCs in my previous organizations. When I was working in edible oil industry, what I did was I contacted STC and MMTC, which had foreign LCs, and we imported edible oil through them and stored those goods in custom bonded warehouses. And we used to take out edible oil 100 tons every